poems. Karibuni sana, ladies and gentlemen. This is our first launch of the day, and I have not one but two amazing gentlemen with me in studio, and from their content you can tell, right? You can tell that they are amazing. I want them to say hello now that they have introduced themselves with their work. We want to know them, their names, what they do, then we jump right in. Gentlemen, karibuni sana. Let's start with Priest the poet.
Hamjamboni. Hamjamboni tena. Hamjamboni mara ya mwisho. My official name is Samuel Njoroge Njuguna.
Yes.
But jina ya kutafuta unga hapa nje na kugonga watu kidogo hivi ni Priest the poet. I'm a Father Macarius.
Yes.
Yes.
Pleasure. It's a pleasure to have you here this morning. It's been an honor.
Yes.
I'm a guitarist. Tusalimie, tuambie unaitwa nani, tukujue kidogo.
Yeah. Blessed love.
Yes.
Mimi kama msanii naamini mimi ni kioo cha jamii. Yangu ni kuwaburudisha, kuelimisha na kuhimiza na kupea hope katika maisha. Mimi naitwa Koni Mziki aka Collins Ochanda ama Altar Boy. Nimeenjoy sana kuwapa.
Yes.
Yes.
So I want to start from there, from hizo majina. Priest.
Yeah.
Were you brought up in the Catholic Church?
Actually, that's where the story starts.
Yes.
That's where the journey started. Yes.
Ulikuwa altar boy ama kulienda aje? Give me that story of you being in Catholic Church since your early childhood.
So apparently I come from a strong and staunch Catholic background.
Yeah.
Where my uncle and my aunt happened to be in the clergy. Kabisa. My uncle is a priest.
Yes.
The former Vicar General Pale Nakuru Diocese, and my aunt is a nun. So you can just tell.
Anyway, you were at the heart of the Catholic Church.
I was at the heart of the Catholic Church. I was brought up in the church, and I became an altar boy. Kidogo nikenda hivyo. But this was my calling.
This was your calling.
Art was my calling.
Yes.
Yes.
But I'm glad, I mean, if you didn't come from the Catholic Church, you probably wouldn't know most of what you are incorporating in your art right now.
Actually,
so we are happy. We are happy to know you like that.
Yes.
Na karibu sana to KUTV, of course, Art and Culture Monday. Nataka tuongele, before we get to the heart of the issues,
yes.
You wear many hats. You are a singer, you're a writer, you're a content creator.
Yes.
Tuulize tu, hizi mambo zote zilianza lini?
It started way back. I first developed interest in art while I was still a young kid.
Yeah.
At the age of 5. From what I'm being told, is that when I used to be a small kid, when visitors used to come, there was this song that used to go in Kikuyu, used to say, Kamurigo ni kame. So I used to put that cassette, and then I would take my mom's pillowcases, and then I would place them at my back, and then I would start entertaining. And it's something that I grew with until I reached the youth. In the Catholic Church, we have a segment for the youths where they happen to go for the Catholic festivals, and that's where the journey began.
Exactly.
So I started developing interest in acting, in film, in comical skits and stuff, and that's where.
And that's why yes. So I want to say you went to primary school, of course, kept your entertainment, high school did so. Did you study for this thing in campus? Ama campus ulikuwa haso zingine?
Sasa campus.
Yes.
Campus nilikuwa na zile mahustle, but guys used to tell me there's something unique that you have. There's something that you are having watu wengine wa kawaida hawana. They used to tell me you are gifted.
Yeah.
But I never knew what the gift was. But apparently there's this director of mine called Mr. Jimmy Goko. We were with him at the Air Force One production, and that's where he discovered me. Because he used to tell me, wewe una act kama vijana wa Western.
Yeah.
Have you ever been on stage? Have you ever been given a main character and whatever and stuff?
Yeah.
That was immediately after schooling. And that's where I was given a main role to cast in a play called The Jameson. And I casted it out well, the role of a priest. And I think that's where.
I mean, they gave you the perfect role.
They gave me the perfect role and I delivered.
And you delivered perfectly. I like that. I want us to go to Connie kidogo because nataka kujua mlitoana wapi. So kwanza niambie ulimtoa wapi before we talk to him.
Kuni Muziki, there's this program that was running in Nakuru, run by Sarkasi Trust, and they started a group called Talanta Amani. Talanta Amani was an initiative of converging youths who are gifted with different talents, and they use their talents to promote peace, especially during that election period. So we were all converged there. We started an audition, and after auditioning, a few people were selected. I and Kuni Muziki being among the people. By then we never knew each other.
Yes.
So while we were running through the classes and during projects, that's when we discovered each other.
Yeah.
And we perfectly synced.
Yes.
I cannot explain that. Maybe anaweza tuambia how that happened, because I just loved how he used to strum the guitar.
Yeah.
And actually for the longest time period I've been thinking of merging my poetry with music.
Yes.
And that's why you are seeing us doing music and poetry at the same time. We are trying to merge something new in the poetry industry.
Yes. Oh, amazing. I like that. Connie, what struck you? You know, about Pristabia amesema hajui, the sync just happened.
It just happened.
So, yes, what struck you about him? Kona yenyewe, this mjamaa, we can do some good work together.
Mimi kwanza kenye nanibamba na yeye nilo. Umefanya nini kweli? Venye huwa anaanza poem yake by the way, Nick, akofiti, hiyo ndio ilinibamba na yeye by the way.
Yeah.
Hiyo kwanza tu
ndio
intro yake.
It captured your attention and it kept you there.
Na pia kuimba.
Yes. Yeah. Wow, I love that because you know, getting a duo that works together, ladies and gentlemen, is not the easiest thing in the world. Because hawa ni watu, I want to believe kila mtu alikuwa na miaka 20 something zake, you know, before you met the other. So it's a choice that you made. So Kona, what were you doing in Talanta na Amani? Like what wewe ulipatikana wapi katika hiyo haso yote ya Talanta na Amani?
Okay, ilikuwa audition, walikuwa wametuma hizo posters, wase wa apply, and then tulikuwa tunaenda audition na Crew Players Theatre.
Yes.
Sasa hapo ndo nikaenda audition. After kufanya audition, nikachukuliwa na Sarakasi, walikuwa wanachukua wase, and then wanawa mentor. Ilikuwa program ya Talanta na Amani hivyo. Sasa hapo ndo nikachukuliwa na Talanta. Na nikapatana na Priste.
Yes.
Yep.
In Talanta na Amani, what was the motive of that whole training? Ama what was your take home? Ni nini ulienda nayo?
Yeah. Hapo kwa Talanta na Amani, kuna topics tulikuwa tunafundishwa like entrepreneurship, communication, intellectual property, gang violence, digital marketing, digital marketing na stuff mingi tu. Nilijifunza vitu mingi sana. First of all, communication, how to communicate with people, client, how to market my work, entrepreneurship. Beside art, ni nini ingine naweza fanya?
Exactly.
Tuseme kiumani naweza fanya nini ingine? Hapo ndo nikajifunzia by the way. Kuna side hustle pia nafanya.
Yes. Yeah. I like that. So Priest, ni side hustle gani ulitoka nayo kwa Talanta na Amani now that Connie anatuambia he took something?
Hey, communication skill. Communication skill. Yeah. Actually we have a communication skill and leadership skills. Yes. Actually we're having our own show that we usually have in Nakuru pale inaitwa Talk Your Talk. So what tuna live stream through Facebook, our channels, and hapo ndio tunajikuta maybe tumekaa kwa hiyo position yako.
Ukweli.
Sasa tuna communicate na watu, tunapiga story pale mbaya. Then on the leadership part, now that Talanta na Amani course, it was a course for 9 months. And after that 9 months, sasa after tumesha graduate, we were left on our own to sasa tujitawale kutoka hapo. And I was given that mandate of taking care of those guys. The group itself, sasa ni sisi tujue mwelekeo, and that's where the leadership skills come in.
Exactly, because now you have to lead this group of people that you weren't responsible for before.
Oh,
yes. Okay, I like that. Acha tuende kwa Connie kidogo, because I want to know when he started singing. Ni lini, like when did you get into the music industry? Nini kiliku inspire to actually do that?
Mimi nilianzia church. Kwa Sunday school.
Nyinyi ni vijana wa kanisani.
Ma church boy.
Yes.
Mimi nilianzia church. Kuimba kiasi. High school, primary nilikuwa na lead CU. Kajikaza secondary ndio hiyo. Nikamaliza form 4. Nikashindwa ndafanya nini. Kuliko nikae na squad mbaya, hizi ma groups mbaya nikaona chatu nijikaze na muziki.
Yes.
Yep.
How is it doing so far?
Iko fiti by the way. Sasa muziki at least nimekutana na wase wenye singewahi kutana nao.
True.
Na pia nimelearn vitu mingi sana. Hii communication pia singewahi ongea hivi by the way.
Yeah.
Nilikuwa mwoga sana. Shy sana. Singeweza, but saizi at least
you can. See guitar peke yake. You can. Yeah. I like that. Back to Connie. So you started doing poetry. And wait, kuna mahali nilishika. No, we are going to priest now. Tumetoka kwa Connie kidogo. Connie ulifanya tour and travel. Mbona haupeleki watu? Mbona utuambii tuende Mombasa, tuende Zanzibar ama what happened?
It's actually something that I did, but I never found sikupata ile interest kabisa na kama venye niko nayo na art. And I remember there was a point where my family used to ask, ile kitu yenye ulifanyanga shule.
Ukweli, miaka kadhaa.
Na saizi na hii mambo ya TV. Wow, unaona kama zinapelekana. And then I was like, this is it.
Yes.
This is what
what you want.
This is what I want to do.
Yes. And if you have found it, that's all. That was the reason. So kama haikuwa huko, it's not there.
Labda sasa niandike kitu kuhusu Tour Central. Niandike kuhusu.
True, because you have gained quite some knowledge base on it.
Yes.
So that maybe we would work on that.
Yeah.
So you started writing poetry kidogo. Uli groundbreaking wapi? Like where was it that you went for a performance and you are like, enyewe, this is exactly what I want to do?
My journey started it was in a very, very funny way.
Yeah.
I scripted something and I never told someone, but I used to rehearse it nikiwa ninafanya maybe to house chores hapa na pale. And then one time there's a band in Nakuru called Tamasha Band.
Yeah.
So I told them wakati walikuwa tu wanafanya practice kwa sababu they are my colleagues, they are my friends.
Yeah.
Wakiwa wanafanya practice nikamwambia nawasi I have a capice here, so you can listen and then you play along with whatever. Once I performed it, they told me, you will be with us on stage on Thursday. They were performing on Deluxe.
Yes.
So on that day, on Deluxe, I wasn't sure whether niende ama nisiende.
Yeah.
And the moment I stood on stage, unajua hakuna kitu ngumu kama kuconvince mulevi kenye unasema. Akuelewe. So the moment I started, everyone was in shock.
Yeah.
As in kila mtu aliapplaud mpaka mtu drunkard. Kuna mtu alikuja hivi ameshikilia noti yake akasema kijana kuna kitu umesema ya maana. Hiyo nimeenda nayo nyumbani.
Wow. So that is how you knew this is what I was meant for.
And I knew this is it.
Exactly.
Yes.
Wow, I love that. I want us at this juncture to listen to a second piece. Probably unaweza tuambia inaitwa aje ndio tujue a bit of it before we get to the performance.
So this was actually my second piece. It is called My Mama, My Pride.
Yes.
It talks about I don't want it to sound it like that, lakini ni most of feminism.
Yes.
And I usually talk about the masculinity part of a woman.
Yes.
When the masculine part of him has left. Kama tuseme like single ladies. Yes, when wamekuwa kijisimamia on their own, wako na kids wa kulea.
Single moms.
Yeah. So this is just a piece
this
for them.
One is for you guys. Thank you so much. I think we are open to hearing that one right about now.
Tupate kujieka tayari kwa shairi takatifu Foo. And his way bigger than short baba. Aliniita mimi mwana. That's why napiga kelele takatifu. Kwa pamoja kama nyash. Tusemeni aminia.
Aminia.
Blessing. Sema aminia.
Aminia.
Thank you.
Yuko na wewe, majaribu ni ya dunia, kaza moyo wewe, vumilia, usife moyo, Neria yuko na wewe.
Na ukipotea njia,
I believe in a woman in possession of a man's masculinity. For in her circle of trust, a kid was conceived, and in the trinity of love, the kid grew death. God's way of saying you are fired, but the father fired himself. So suicide, self-immolation was his humanly way of saying he is quitting. Now the widow had a 6-year-old, trying to shelter the kid from the piercing cold, trying to shelter the kid from the ruthless acts of injustice from her in-laws. And whenever she saw him cry, she would whisper in his ears and say, "Rockabye, baby. My love for you ain't doubtful with maybes." She accepted both criticism and compliments because she knew it takes both heavy rainstorm and bright sunshine for a rose to grow. And as the saying goes, spare the rod and spoil the child. Guess that's why she had a cane, named it Sugar, a sweet tool to spare part in discipline acts from the boy whenever adolescent stage tended to change his paradigm of being bigger. I believe in a woman in possession of a man's masculinity. You see, she has more than 1,000 descriptions of how powerful she has impacted her life on her kid. But if I was to describe her, I would say that she is an iron lady. She needed not to battle in Game of Thrones for the Iron Throne for her son's love and courtship. That's why she straightened the boy's discipline like suits from Adobe. She is a mason. She constructed a concrete pillar with strong muscles, not meant to fight, but meant to make a great foundation for this nation. Walk away from catastrophic acts which may deter her life and pin her down into temptation. Isn't she the royal queen Taras Riley was talking about? For she has made King's Collection brand luck, meaning she is an arboretum farmer. Just like a seed, the boy thought he was buried, but instead he was planted so that one day he will sprout into a humongous tree and shelter his parent. She is a pharmacist, just like a tablet. She made a painful medical pill called success. That's why her haters find it hard to swallow. You see, she is a lioness. Now her cub will one day grow into a lion king, roll his lungs out for the world to hear him say, "I have my mama's pride from the galaxies." He became a star boy not only on the weekend but also on the weekdays. A great metamorphosis, for he has grown into a fully packaged man whose crime is his rhyming words. That's why he's referred to as the best man, because in shortage of stationery, he can tear up his skin, break his ribs, drain his blood so that he can make a piece of paper, a pen, and an indelible ink respectively, so that through writing, he can express his undying and endless love for his mother. The right kind of a son, it is his love.
Neria, Neria.
Aquarius. I'm all the way up, blazing and flaming like Elijah's chariots. Dominus vobiscum, et cum spiritu tuo, and may the good Lord bless you. In nomine Patris, et Filii, et Spiritus Sancti, go forth in peace. Our holy poem has ended. Praise to the poet, Koni Muziki, the
Like I told you guys, I am ready. I am ready to just pause. Let's pause the whole, shebang that is happening today and just listen to the poetry. Priest, I love your work. Like kama hujambiwa mara kama 200 leo utoke nazo hapa. We are not struggling to love your work. We love the content that you're creating, the pieces that you're writing. You can tell they are well thought through. Mtu aliketi chini. Anjua, let me tell you the problem with your fellas. They have really nice poems, but they are 3 stanzas. So, ukishika tu fire hivi isha. Yes. But so I like how long they are. I like how well thought through they are. Mtu atasikiza hiyo na atafeel, by the way, I can do this. I'm picturing a single mom who was, about to give up, and they are wondering, what do I do with these boys? Oh, I may get into teenhood. Now everything is crazy. I think that piece would have spoken to them and just reminded them that they are doing a really nice job, that they are, they are covering in for whoever is absent, and I really, really like that. So that was your second piece. How many pieces have you written so far? Hiyo swali inakuanga ngumu.
Because actually,
yes.
You find yourself, you are in a certain spot whereby umeambiwa, can you script something for us?
Yeah.
Hurriedly, saizi.
Yeah.
Alafu tukufix hapo.
Yeah.
So you find yourself unajaribu kufix kitu hapo. So
yes.
I just write, but zenye ninaweza sema nimeandika scripted zenye sasa nimeziweka ni za kufanyia project.
Yes.
Most probably around 17.
Around 17. Wow. So we are expecting big things from you. Are you planning to put them together in video form, in audio form, ama in a book?
Napanga kuziweka zote in a group. But currently I want to do some EPs.
Yes. Amazing. So EP kadhaa zinakuja. The soonest one EP in a drop lini?
Bado hatuwezi ongelea ita drop lini, but still iko jikoni nafanya ile kitu.
Yes, I like that. So about 17, take me through your creative process. Wewe hukuwa inspired kuandika na nini? Like what inspires you? Is it your own stories? Is it society? Ama una mirror things you see? What inspires your writing?
First, people usually get mixed up because of this kind of a character.
Yes.
They think I'm a gospel kind of an artist.
Yes.
But I'm not. So I'm diverse.
Yes.
And when I speak of diversity, I usually speak about things that do happen in our day-to-day life, real life situations. Yeah. And when I address real life situations, if I start dwelling on gospel,
we are getting to you in just a bit as you tell me. One, I actually thought when you walked in without the purple, I thought you were Muslim. So easy bit with you happened because now I thought, wait, the picture I saw and then the person who walked in, because when you're in just the kanzu, the white, it's just white. So I was like, oh, they are Muslim. All right, cool. So I get how someone could, get mixed messages or not exactly know what kind of an artist you are until they hear, and until they hear you do your thing. Yes. But I like that. Like, I think that is the joy of an artist. You don't want to also be up, too forthright or too upfront. You want people to get to know you through actually what you do. So I love that. What is the most recent piece that you have written about?
I've written a piece with Kuni Muziki called A Letter to the Father.
A Letter to the Father.
Yes.
Okay, now that you've brought it was somewhere in my notes, but now that you have brought it up, thank you very much. I want to know about A Letter to the Father. Hii nayo inahusu nani, ni ya nini?
A Letter to the Father, it's also a real life situation.
Yeah.
It not only happened to me, but it is something that is also happening to other people out there. People out there. People who have lost their beloved ones.
Yes.
But it's kind of recently I've noticed that it's it's a metaphor.
Yes.
Because people are relating to it, they are kind of getting it the other way around. I wrote it to the father, but unakuta apparently kuna mtu amenikujia ameniambia, hey priest, ile stuff uliandika, hata kama uliandika kuhusu baba, mimi naona kama inaniguza pande ya mama. Mimi inaniguza pande yangu, pande ya dada. Mimi inaniguza pande ya ndugu. As in, it's metaphorical in a way, and it's a real life situation that happened to me. I lost my dad at a very, very young age. So I've been brought up all the way through by my mother. Najua penye yako wananiona na wana kijiji.
Wana kijiji wamekaa mahali.
Wameambiwa kijana yetu. Yes, mama, I made it.
Mama Priest, we appreciate you. You give you a very, very big up. Mama Priest from Nakuru. I assume she's still in Nakuru. Big up to you, mom. You have raised a son. Unamuona? Make it.
So niliandika nikiwa ninaweka real life factor yangu hapo ndani, but nikakuta pia nina inspire mtu mwingine.
True.
Yes.
So ningetaka kusikia hiyo piece sana, and because of that I will ask you for a fourth one tukifunga, because I'm very, very interested in that, like it's made the noise for itself. Hata mimi your piece that I knew ni hii. So I would like us to hear it. Tusikie hii yenye inachangamsha kila mtu. What is it talking about?
Yes. Twende kazi. So dear Papa, let me venture you into my world of salams. Hello Dad, I'm hoping uko poa and resting in peace. As for me, I'm still carrying the broken pieces that you left us while I was still a small kid. Your love ako poa, aging like wine, still warming your bed and couch with a false hope that maybe one day you'll make your return home. You can imagine how glorious that can be. Na bado tunahepea ile bowl tulikuwa tunasoba our tears on after umeenda. Squeezy huitwa escape from sobbing ball. Ali earn both your titles and good deeds. Even after the world kumnyang'anya the earthly things, she's now the father and the breadwinner. That's why all my school life, before tying my tie, I would always call her up. But kufunga tie knots ikiwa blanda, I would always call her up akuje kufunga. Things ungefanya ukiwa hapa, but instead, she led me to Christ ambaye ndio the true caller. So now you know who I am, priest, the poet. Bado hajapata mwingine, cause she believes you're still her sole provider, and anytime her heart is in agony, you huenda kupipu kwa dirisha, cause she believes there's a new beginning in every sunset. That's why wazee wa Nyeri wakipita wamcheki, wanatabasamu, wana pocket, wanasema chakula widow. But her Kikuyu traits don't allow her tongue to play along with L and R at the same time in her speech, so mathematically yana wa logarithm ndio reciprocate love yake kwa Christ, the CEO of souls wanazorithi. Some few years zimepita, the more na grow, the more nakaa your own replica, hadi mtaani wananiita the walking dead because of the collateral duplication. Na ni funny as we age, the world is becoming younger and in possession of the evil one, but I'm glad that I'm genetically modified with your defensive mechanism, a trait we shared by blood. That's why wananiita the red devil, cause I gonna anyone messing with my mama. I still go through the albums and I came across this single. Ilinipea mixed up feeling, but again I realized that the same sun that hardens the clay is the same that melts the wax. A reality that I find hard to swallow. But do me a lifetime favor, Papa. If by any chance you meet with my heavenly daddy, ask him on your behalf to look after me and my lovely mommy. Yours faithfully, loving son. Comic industry wananiita the laughing gods. That's why I'm all the way up, blazing and flaming like Elijah's chariots. Koni Muziki, take it away.
Rudi home, tubaki hapa nawe. 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 Rudi home, tubaki hapa nawe.
Amazing work from Koni Muziki and poet and priest the poet. I am loving their work. I want us to talk kidogo, the three of us, about music and poetry fusion, because I feel like you get the goodness of poetry plus you can really kick music out from poetry. How are you loving that fusion, and what is your dream? What is the dream of that fusion?
I think poetry is just singing,
yes,
but just talking.
Yes.
But once you fuse music, there's just a different vibe in it.
Yes.
Hata wewe mwenyewe umesikia.
Sana.
That
this is why
and also
I am
music,
asking.
and I think also music is poetry. So zote zinaenda hand in hand.
True. Yes.
They
So
go hand in hand.
because of being, I want to ask, because kwa bio niliona pia wewe ni singer. Do you also write music?
Yes,
Priest?
I do. Like hizi zote zenye tunaimba hapa, they were initially composed by us.
Yes.
Yeah, Koni Muziki and I.
Yes.
And we decided, actually before tuanze hii kitu tulikuwa tumeanza, we started structuring it like we ni priest. So fanya kenye priest ufanya. You know, we wanted to distinguish ourselves,
yes,
from the rest.
True.
Like I ain't bragging, but hutawahi kuta poet mwenye anaanza piece yake ni kama inaanza iko na mwanzo na iko na mwisho and then katikati ni body. You get hata audience yenye mna performia, they'll know when you're starting and when you're ending and where the body is.
Yes.
So while we were planning it, hizo vitu zilikuja tu zikiingia. It's just a good fusion.
Yes. And I love that structure, not just because it sets you apart, but that is the number one reason. It sets you apart from the crowd of very many other poets.
Yes.
But also it's really nice. Like it's not just there, it's not just an intro you want to know, because I wanted to ask, by the way, from the previous performance, uko mwisho kuna vitu unasema, father who anasema I don't know what. What do you know their meaning? Like
yes, that's Italiano.
Take me through.
In nomine Patris, in the name of the Father.
Yes.
Et Filii.
Yes.
The Son. Et Spiritus Sancti.
Yes.
Spirit.
Yes.
Go forth in peace. Our holy poem has ended.
Wow.
Like in the Catholic structure, you say in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, go home, fall in peace. Our Mass has ended. But since this is a holy poem, it's a holy poem.
Yes.
We say, go forth in peace. Our holy poem has ended.
Amazing. Because now I feel
Karibu
like
sema
this
amen.
also. I feel Exactly. I feel that this also gives you an older audience. Yes. I feel like poetry is still taking shape, at least in our country. Spoken word is still gathering its roots. Yeah. But now this gives you audience in even our parents, you know, because those of us who are Catholic want to, ati, anasikia kama alikuwa mass. You know, so you also gather an audience with them, which I think is a really, really beautiful thing. I want us to talk about Pearl kidogo, you performing at Pearl and Unplugged, and how that has helped you in your poetry journey, or is helping you help others.
Yes.
Yeah.
So wanasemanga uwezi kukona, you have something, like you might not be saying you are talented.
Yes.
Unaweza sema we uko talented lakini hatujui, hatuonangi. You know, yes. You might be calling yourself a good singer, you might be calling yourself a good actor,
yes.
You might be calling yourself a good narrator, but we're not seeing it.
True.
But now having Pearl and Unplugged show and various shows in Nakuru, this is where we get to showcase ourselves,
yes.
Where we get to gauge ourselves, where we get to know our abilities, our skills,
yes.
And what to add, what to erase kidogo.
Yes.
So currently we are performing at Pearl and Unplugged, Pearl Theatre.
Yeah.
A show by Wanyama, Victor Wanyama.
Wanyama.
Eric, thank you.
Ushaeka Victor, ushamleta huku kwa poetry.
Nimemleta hadi huku. By Eric Wanyama,
yes.
And Pearl by Kenneth B.
Yes.
Yes. Big up yourself.
Yes.
Kwa sababu were it not for them, hatungekuwa hivi venye tuko saa hizi.
True. Yes.
So truly. The shows in a way zinatu mold.
Yes.
They are molding us before tufike hapa juu. Bado tunatamba, tunakuja pole pole.
I am loving how you guys are, you know, coming up. I love that. Connie, kidogo we want to talk about as we close, because we are out of time. Future plans. What are you planning? I of course want to host you here, just in case you are wondering. We want to come hear your music, hear what you do in you know, in a broader manner. But what are you working on now and future plans?
Okay, for now na work. Sasa na work na Priest, but nilikuwa nawakia masongs zingine, niko na masongs mob sana.
Yeah.
Nimeandika na mabesti wa mine. Na wakia apart from hiyo tena biashara, lazima tufanye biashara.
Exactly.
Yep.
Ukinikuwa nataka kuuliza unafanya biashara gani? Ni biashara tunaweza sema hapa.
Ndio unapanga
biashara. Sawa, ukipanga. Don't say your plans true. Yep. But yeah, ukipanga hiyo biashara, we hope to cover it. We hope to cover it as you come for an interview. If you're wondering the voice, you have a lovely voice. I cannot wait. Nangoja kusikia, you know, an entire whole song. Kwani unafanya nini? No, Priest. Why am I doing this? Priest, what are you working on currently?
I don't know why you're doing that. Unasemaje?
What are you working on currently?
Currently I'm working on a project, and I think ndio tutafunga nayo show.
Yeah.
Inaitwa
Perfect.
It's a story about depression. That's something that I've been working about. Na also maybe apart from that,
yeah.
I would really want to become what do we call it? A mentor. Now that I'm given the mandate by Sarakasi to look after the Talanta Amani group, I would really love to make a movement with that group. Yes, such that if any local artist would be loving to have someone who can dance, wanakujia to Priest can deliver a good dancer, Priest can deliver a good poets, Priest can deliver good singers, and the rest. That's actually what I'm working on. Yes.
I think that is an amazing plan. We are definitely we are here to make the noise. You make the plan, then come. Then we will make all the noise about it that we need to do. Okay? Yes. We will come and do exactly that. Finally, for both of you, to come to Pate social media handles, where can guys get your pieces? You know, tunaweza subscribe wapi ni wapi, tunaweza share hii kazi yenyu. Where can we make some noise for you?
Make some noise for me pale Instagram, pale Facebook, pale YouTube, pale Twitter. Juzi tuliingia hii kitu inaitwa TikTok.
Yes.
At Priest the Poet. Kila mahali. Priest.
Everywhere.
Si Prince. Priest. Kasisi. Kasisi mshairi. Priest the poet.
Yes.
Yes.
And I see him there. Na chini nasoma Njoroge Samuel.
Njoroge Samuel. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Na tume follow because we don't like postponing this thing. So if you're seated at home, you are watching, kimbia tu pale either anywhere, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and he's made it really easy. Hakuna osjui ma underscore, hakuna majina mingi. Ni Priest the poet. Okay? Go there, like, follow. That's how you support him from where you are, wherever you are watching us from. Okay? Connie, tupatie hizo socials.
For some good vocals,
yes,
guitar skills,
yes,
pia nafunza guitar. Mimi napatikana Facebook, Instagram, yote venye Priest amesema.
Yes.
At Connie Mziki.
Connie Mziki. Atuambie, kindly spell that Connie for us because
C-O-N-N-I-E.
Hivyo tu. C-O-N-N-I-E. Okay?
Muziki.
Yes, that mziki. Alafu tufike pale to like, thank you very much. Nimesha kuona. Tufike pale, we like, we share, we subscribe. As we have said, this is how we support content creators. Okay? Ukifika pale pia ukipatana na music ya Connie mahali, download. You know, get it. End up Boomplay. Are you on Boomplay? Bado. So tunangoja. By the time he's coming here for an interview, atakuwa na hizo vitu zote. Then now we can know where to follow him at. But right now you can go to YouTube and subscribe and enjoy and share their work. All right? Any other thing? No, Priest, I want you to big up your team because najua you're not haukuangi peke yako. Kuna watu wa Nakuru ukitoka hapa kama hujawasalimia itakuwa shida.
Wataninyongea hapo nje. Naweza tarogwa. Nibaki Nairobi.
Ubaki Nairobi.
Nashika yangu hapo.
Big up your team. Say hello to anyone that sent you here and just as we close.
First of all, I want to big up my mom.
Yes.
She's ako pale nyumbani, ako locked mbaya.
Yes.
Big up yourself, mama. We made it. I also want to thank my friends.
Yes.
They've been supportive sana. Kina Kadoli, Eunice, manze, big up yourself. I also want to thank my manager ako hapa nyuma.
Yes.
Anatucheki and ametuleta hadi hapa. Faith Kiboi, yes. Big up yourself. I would also want to thank the Sarakasi team, Talanta Amani. We were being facilitated by choreographer Oscar Mwalo and Jose Contes and Marion in sponsorship with the US Embassy. Teacher Eunice, big up yourself. Talanta Amani group, the Rotary group. Manze, God azidi kuwabariki na tunasonga taratibu tutafika.
Amazing. Thank you. You see that platform is very important. Connie, salimia watu wako.
Wacha nianzie pale theater juu umesahau.
Yeah.
Hapo ndio nilikuwa nimekuachia huo sebe.
Manze, watu wote wa theater, Eric Wanyama, Babushe.
Yeah.
Big up sana.
Yes.
Pale nyumbani, DJ Male, Blessed Love, DJ Max, shukran sana. My mom, shukran. Yep,
yes.
Yep.
One last one.
Yes.
Antonio Tamasha Band.
Yes.
And the Tamasha team huwa wanatupatia studio. Tunafanya hizo show zetu zenye nimekuambia ya Talk Your Talk.
Yeah.
So big up yourselves manze. Antonio, shukrani sana. God bless you.
Thank you very much. I hope that nitakuwa invited to Talk Your Talk.
Karibu sana.
Mimi niko na vitu kadhaa naweza sema.
Karibu sana.
Asanteni.
Yesterday nikiomba nilikuwa naambia Mungu naomba baraka.
Yes.
Look at me now. I'm talking to blessing.
Here I am.
I'm talking to Karen Blessing.
Thank you very much. In spirit and body, I am here.
In spirit and body, you are here.